Hi, this is Mar. This is the second in a two-part video where I'm going through some initial data that I've received, data that keeps coming in every day on a nationwide project that I am conducting on high-end financial advisors. In the last video, I mentioned that there are 5 categories of struggles, problems, roadblocks, headaches that high-end financial advisors are facing right now. The purpose in this video is just to go through them, my initial reaction to these categories of problems, just to see if anything new or insurmountable is coming up. I've been doing this research for 25 years, since 2002, so more than 25 years. Primarily, I do research on affluent ideal clients, what they want. I've been obsessed with that since 2002 because I'm a financial advisor who delivers truly comprehensive financial services. Even though I was top producer at my firm, I wanted to exceed the expectation of my clients because I had a theory. I had a theory that if I could more closely align what I'm providing in terms of value to my clients, if I could perfectly align that with what clients want the most and what clients are willing to pay the most for, I had this theory that my clients would reward me with unsolicited client referrals. And guess what? Not only was I correct, but in 2002, when I started speaking at conferences in the industry and I started getting hired by firms to come talk at top producer meetings and things like that, and I started sharing this very aggressively with our industry, what I found and what I am doing, the methodology that I've created, is replicatable. I've been replicating this with hundreds of advisors over the last 25 years because really, 2 things. First thing is that what the client expects is disconnected from what the industry thinks the client wants. That results in a fact that most advisors, and I'm talking primarily about top firms, top producers, because that's where multimillionaires tend to place their trust is in the bigger firms. They shop around, they look for referrals from their affluent friends and family members. So they end up at the top firms. And this is very instructive. If you're listening to this and you're not a top producer, you're not a top firm, that's fine. Then this will be more valuable to you. The problem that I've had for 25 years is persuading top firms that the value they're currently providing to their best clients is actually not what the clients want. They are convinced that what they are providing is top-notch, clients love it, can't be improved upon. What it ends up being is a lack of humility and a lack of understanding that there might be a disconnect, and there almost always is a disconnect. The odds that a firm is delivering precisely what clients are expecting, or even the minimum standards that the industry requires of professionals, is less than 2%. Another way to say that is if you're a board-certified estate planning attorney or a CPA or a certified financial planner or any financial professional that has a board of standards, the odds that you're actually meeting the minimum standards is less than 2%. And I only say this because I have actively worked with affluent ideal clients for over 25 years. First thing I'll ask an affluent person is, may I see the plan that has been created for you by the advisor that you've hired? And 82% of clients have nothing to give me. What they have to give me typically represents the here and now. It's a listing of investment holdings, maybe allocation, lots of pie charts and lots of bar charts, and maybe a capital projection or two, but primarily, here's how your investment performance is doing. It's not like they don't hand the client stuff. It's just that when the client hands me the stuff that they're given, it doesn't meet the minimum standards for planning for any financial professional. So the first category of struggles, which we covered in the last video, was overwhelmed by mastery and execution. And this was advisors that are actually currently in some sort of a program. Either they have a financial advisor coach, or maybe they're in a high-end program for financial advisors. But we covered it in the last video. The bottom line for that one is it's more of a question. Why is it that advisors tend to be in programs and don't end up executing what the programs teach to the point of being the poster child? Or to say it another way, why is it that these programs don't have the client stating that they are exceeding the client's expectations? It's not a reflection on the programs. It's more like a question. Why is it that these programs don't result in advisors who provide a higher standard of planning that impresses their clients? The good news is the framework that I've developed, which gives clarity to the client about what the plan is, it's really just the format of the plan. And the fact that the client expects the plan to answer some key questions, we covered that in the last video. But the bottom line is, for any advisor, if you're out there and you're in a program and you're worried that you feel like, oh my gosh, I just keep joining these programs and is this ever going to end? I've stopped being excited about new programs because they all sound the same. They all seem to promise the moon and the stars, and it never seems to work out that way. Stop to think about this. Maybe you should seek a program where you have more mentoring than training. Are you seeking a program where the individual leading the program, leading you, is accessible to you? Because it's not a learning issue, it's more of a mentoring issue to where they can work with you and help you develop some skills that will consistently exceed your client's expectations. So the good news is there's a framework out there that if you can just connect with somebody that's actually impressed clients for a long period of time, once you crack that code, you don't ever need to be in another program again. I designed our program so that it would be the last program that any advisor ever was in, because once you dial this in, and it takes about 90 days, but once you dial this in, you never need to join another program, at least so far as understanding how to consistently exceed affluent ideal clients' expectations. And that's really the goal. The problem with my program is I can only mentor maximum 20 people at a time. So there's something like 500,000 financial advisors in North America alone. You need to find somebody that's actually accomplished this and mentor with them, because it's skills that will get you to the objective. The second category was isolation and lack of support. And as I just got through saying, the good news is if you're feeling isolated and that you're doing everything, there are groups out there of advisors who are like-minded, just like you, who decided that you can be more and you want to be more. Guess what? There are groups out there. You can do this in a community of high-end financial advisors, no clients allowed, no salespeople or vendors. You're looking for some group of financial advisors, and you're all relentlessly driven towards the same objective. And in this case, the objective is to consistently exceed clients' expectations, to just give clients what they want most, a clear framework of planning and a plan that answers lots of questions, to deliver it in a way that consistently exceeds their expectations, not just in year 1 and 2, but when you have a client in year 4 and 5 and 6 and 8 and 10, every year for as long as you work with them, you are consistently exceeding their expectations. Every year you're exceeding their expectations. And that requires a skill set that very few financial advisors have. But the good news is there are groups out there of advisors that you can join, including ours. We have the Mark of Mastery. It's a free community. I set it up 8 years ago, and these are all high-end financial advisors who are like-minded, and they've got one focus. It's to exceed affluent ideal clients' expectations, and that's it, and to never need another program ever again. In this video, I'm going to cover 3 other categories of struggles. I've never done this before, but I just want you to get my initial reaction to the data. Once I get all the data in, I'm going to dial this in and I'm going to release it to you, the financial advisor community, in a way that's a little more organized and in ways that you can actually implement and use it. But for now, I'm just giving you the initial read on this data. The fourth category of struggles is conflict between growth and comfort. I got a lot of comments from advisors when I asked, what are you struggling with? They said things like, I want to progress, but I avoid the hard stuff. Or I had one advisor say, I know what I should do, I'm just not doing it. That was a category of struggle. What it seems like when I read through all of this, and this is only a couple of dozen advisors at this point, it'll ultimately be hundreds of advisors. So I'll definitely dial this in with more data. But for now, it looks like what they're really meaning is that they crave change in their business, but they resist the discomfort that comes with change. It's as though you're telling yourself that you're strategic and you understand what you're needing to do, but deep down you're avoiding what actually moves the needle to make the change that's required. And my message to you, my initial reaction to you on that one is that real growth actually starts where comfort ends. And you need to realize and accept that. This is not about willpower and just pushing through. It's about alignment. It's about aligning what you say and what you want with what you're actually doing. The good news is when advisors actually do dial this, in our group at least, when the focus is what the client wants, you filter out everything else. Just say, I am going to do rock solid planning for this client. I'm just going to focus on what they want. I'm not going to focus on how the financial planning software says to do it, or I'm not going to focus on what the industry has led me to believe that I should be doing. I'm just going to focus relentlessly on what clients want. And clients want clarity in a planning document that you could hand to a client and they could hand it to their accountant or their estate planning lawyer or somebody else. Anybody who reads this document of yours, this plan, what I call a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. I use that term because those 4 words are data tested. This is what clients are seeking, a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. It's a document. When you deliver this document to a client, it's got to answer as many of the key questions as the client has on the top of their mind. If you're wondering, what questions are those? What I'll tell you, because we just have a few minutes here, but my whole program is all about that. It's identifying the 62 questions that affluent ideal clients want answered by their plan and making sure that your plan answers as many of those as possible. But even better, there is a hack. In the meantime, let's say you never actually seek out a program from an advisor that's implemented a firm like this, that's delivering precisely what affluent clients want most and what they're willing to pay the most for. Let's say you don't do any of that. What's the hack? The hack is to sit down with your best clients and just ask them to make sure there is a work product, what I call the crown jewel of truly comprehensive financial services and exceeding client expectations. The foundation of that service is a work product called a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy. So if you're not producing anything like that, if you want to survive this creative destruction that we are facing due to AI and I would propose digital assets, both of those are going to completely upend our industry. The industry is going to change completely as a result of that. And if you want to survive, time's ticking. You're on the clock. You need to start creating this document now. You need to tie your work product that the client appreciates and values to you. The second thing is to make sure that document answers all the key questions that the client expects that plan to answer for them. The best thing you can do right now is just ask your clients, what questions would you say that you need your plan to answer for you to be able to sleep at night, to have a high level of confidence that your financial strategy is going to unfold as expected, even if things go sideways, that you're confident that there is a backup scenario stated in the plan that will kick in if any likely alternate scenarios actually occur. So there's a plan B and a plan C, but that's the framework. The conflict between growth and comfort is humility. It's to realize that whatever you're doing now, your clients may tell you they love you, they trust you, and the data confirms that as well. Most affluent ideal clients actually do like their advisor and they trust them, but 51% confirm that they're actually looking for a better advisor, despite what they're telling you. That's over half. And let's just assume half of your clients fit that description. If they found a better advisor, they would fire you and hire them. So better for you to start perfectly aligning your services and the value you provide your clients now before it's too late. Before AI can do what you do now better than you do, and then it's a real choice for your clients between you and automation to replace you. So the next category of struggle for high-end financial advisors that are coming in on my data, I had advisors saying things like, if nothing changes, I will not hit my life goals. It came up as a common theme, enough for me to consider it a separate category of struggling. We had advisors saying, I'm wasting energy, or this is taking too long. We got a lot of advisors saying things like, I've been in the business for a while now, and I actually thought I would be further along than I am right now. That if you'd asked me 5 years, 10 years, 20 years ago, where will you be today? That many advisors said, I thought I would be further than I am right now, and my results don't reflect my effort. That's another thing in this category that I'm seeing as a common struggle, that a lot of energy and effort and hours and time and sweat and blood and tears are going into the work for the clients, but it's not showing up in the measures of success. And the measures of success are very easy in our industry. It's referrals, client acquisition, and new business revenue. We have 3 metrics that we track in our program, and if your efforts are paying off, it will show up in a high client referral rate, more than 1 referral on average for every client that you have. So if you have 35 clients, you should be getting 35 referrals per year. If you have not gotten 1 referral on average for all your clients over the last 12 months, you're not hitting your potential. You're not even close. I realize that not every client refers. As a matter of fact, I am painfully aware of the fact that some clients will never provide a referral, but it doesn't change the data because I've been looking at this for 25 years. The fact is that about 80% of your referrals will come from approximately 20% of your clients. But if you're really knocking your socks off your clients, if you're providing a level of service at the standards that the client expects and what the industry lays out for you in terms of minimum standards, if you're impressing your clients or exceeding their expectations, 20% of your clients on average will reward you with enough referrals so that your average annual client referral rate will be higher than 1. So if you have 20 clients, you'll have 20 referrals per year. If you have 50 clients, you'll be getting 50 referrals per year. It's 1 referral on average for every client. And if you're getting less than that, you're stagnated. You've somehow gotten in a rut. The good news is that when I read through all these comments, what I'm actually interpreting is it feels as though what is being said is, I'm scared I've plateaued. It's almost a fear that maybe this is it. A fear that I know I'm capable of more, but I can't seem to break through. So there's this frustration. I can tell you from experience, it's not about working harder. It's about finally seeing all this effort produce some momentum. What's missing is momentum. This is just in my experience, my initial reaction to all this. You've worked too hard to stay stuck at any level. What if the breakthrough actually is not doing more? When I work with and mentor advisors, it's almost never the case that you do more. It's some function of doing less. It would take a long time to give you the proper insights on this, but I will say this, back to 80-20, you could stop doing 80% of what you're doing, and it would only have a 20% impact on your client. In other words, 80% of what most financial advisors do, if you examine their time schedule during the week, if you just dumped it, if you just stopped doing it, yeah, you have to make some transition, but I'm giving you a thought exercise. It is almost always true that 80% of what any advisor is doing is only producing 20% of what the client values about you. That's just another way of saying you could free up 80% of your time and the clients would not fire you, because the fact is 20% of what they value is either going to be done by someone else or you're just not going to do that anymore. The clients will be okay with that. So it's either not doing more, it's actually doing less, but focusing that energy then on the 20% of things that you do that actually provide 80% of the value. That's where I always go back to the blind spot for most advisors. The fix is so simple. It's understanding a simple clarity framework of producing a comprehensive written lifetime financial strategy in a clear format that the client can understand, and the clients are not being fussy or unreasonable. What they actually expect, and this is the blind spot, is quite reasonable, and it doesn't take long to transition into this format that I've studied the data, and I don't think you can come up with what I've come up with unless you actually study data of what clients expect. But the framework ends up being quite simple and straightforward. Your plan, once you are producing one that clients will truly value, it's got to answer as many of the client's key questions as possible. And you'll know if it does or not by just simply asking your best clients, what questions do you expect this plan to answer for you? And give it some time. The first time you hit them with that, don't be frustrated if they can't really articulate a cogent response, because it takes a while for clients to put their thoughts together and explain what they expect in language that you'll understand. I know this because it took me 2 years to come up with the 62 questions that we ended up sharing with everyone that I mentor. The reality is the clients really didn't even know how to ask the question. They know what's in their head, they know what they want, but it took me 2 years to extract out of their mind what they meant so that I could translate it into a question that a financial advisor, who at the end of the day is a technical person, technical financial people understand things in certain ways, and to actually translate what the client's thinking and feeling into language that advisors could understand took 2 years. We call it, in our methodology, we call it, there's a 142 point checklist that you go through on an annual basis just to make sure nothing falls through the cracks, so that all 62 of the client's key questions are actually being answered at all times, and the plan is being kept updated in real time. That's the category. It's this fear and stagnation of wasted potential. And to end this video, the final category of frustration is erosion of self-belief. This was a big one. I feel this is a separate category of frustration. I'll be interested as more data comes in if this holds up as one of the top 5 categories of frustration. I wanted to cover it just so you can see if this describes you. The good news is there is hope. It's all 5 of these that I've identified are totally fixable, and totally fixable within 90 days or less. This 5th one, erosion of self-belief, is I got comments from financial advisors saying, I'm not confident. Some of it had to do with the uncertainty in the markets and fears of their clients projected onto them. So apparently there are a lot of advisors who have clients who are coming to them with an unusually high level of uncertainty about their own futures. They're concerned that AI is going to put them out of a job, or maybe they own a business and they're afraid AI is going to just completely change their business and their profit margins and everything. But whatever it is, we have advisors saying, I'm not confident, I'm tired of my own excuses. It's just this chipping away at belief, their belief in themselves. As I read all these comments in context, it feels like they're saying, I'm losing trust in myself. I've been promising myself change for too long. It hurts to realize that I might be the problem. I will say this, that, and I'm being kind because I love financial advisors. For the most part, financial advisors are truly trying to make a difference in their clients' lives. That's why I'm on a divine mission to help financial advisors really align what they're doing with what clients want and what they expect. But this idea of you being the bottleneck, which I'm seeing in this data, ends up being the truth. 99% of the problem with an advisor who ultimately has a breakthrough, completely transforms their business, perfectly aligns with what clients want. Often they can 10x their compensation, like charge planning fees that are 10 times higher. Once you align with what clients really want, they're willing to pay substantially higher fees, but it's almost always mindset issues. It's some sort of a mindset barrier. My friend Bill Backrack, my coach Bill Backrack, calls it limiting beliefs. It's almost always something along that line. It's that there is some mindset issue or limiting beliefs that once you fix that, it's downhill from there. That's good news because, again, just observationally, I'm a financial advisor. I've been mentoring other financial advisors since 2002. So I've had a lot of exposure to advisors who make this transformation. I've seen that it's just a mindset issue. I've also noticed how in 90 days, you can make that transformation. Matter of fact, if you could make the mindset change instantly, it would just take 30 days to make the transformation. But I will tell you this, with 90 days focus, any advisor that puts their mind to aligning your work with clients, these advisors are able to charge substantially higher fees and have a client attraction pipeline in place in less than 90 days. It doesn't take long. You rebuild your confidence by taking control of what's in your hands. And what's in your hands is your inner genius, your personality. Your clients chose you over every other financial advisor for some reason that you as the advisor are almost never aware of. This is the greatest defense against the coming artificial intelligence tidal wave that's heading straight for the beach. We're all going to get caught up in it. And the advisors who survive are going to realize that they've had the secret all along. There's something about you. There's something about the way you're providing value to clients that if you will just simply ask your best clients, of all the advisors that you could have hired, keeping in mind affluent people can afford anybody. They tend to focus on top firms and top producers. But when you get them to open up and talk candidly to you, some advisors call this unique ability. I know the Colby profile calls it that. It's all the same kind of idea. It's your inner genius, the value you provide that nobody else provides, unique ability, whatever you would like to call this unique thing that you're providing to clients. It's the thing that will protect you most from the coming AI creative destruction. The fact that you are doing something that you're unaware of typically that clients really value most, and it's why they selected you over all the other advisors that they could have hired but didn't, and they hired you instead. So I would say the good news is on this erosion of self-belief is that the first thing I do when I mentor an advisor is something I call the genius flip. I go through with an advisor, and I would encourage you to do this, assess your strengths. Then go through a process of identifying what you feel like are areas that need improvement. And here's the genius flip. You take the things that you actually are the weakest at and you flip them around, and that becomes your strong point because you build a system to shore that up. Because of the things that are unique to you, what I'm calling your inner genius, are so evident to your clients, the fact that you build a system around filling the gaps of these other areas that are of concern that maybe are not your strong areas, but you build a system that actually makes those weak points your secret weapon. It allows you to be the full package. You can deliver value to clients at a level that is literally knocking their socks off consistently. Week after week, month after month, year after year, for years and years, you'll have clients providing unsolicited client referrals because you've cracked the code. You're doing, on the one hand, what clients expect, which is a planning document that is comprehensive in nature, and it's perfectly clear what the game plan is to achieve the objectives of the client. On the other hand, when that document is reviewed by the client's other advisors, it answers every key question that the client has about their financial future. That's it. The problem isn't you, it's the system that left you guessing. And so you rebuild your confidence by taking control of what's in your hands, which is your unique ability, and shore that up. Emphasize that as your strong point to your next ideal client, all your future ideal clients, and use your weak areas as your superpower because now you are delivering the full package to every future ideal client in a way that AI will never be able to replace because they're not you. I wanted to do this video that I've never done before, just going through the top 5 struggles that high-end top producers are struggling with right now in this environment. I was really curious to see if there was anything that had emerged as a struggle, given that we're now in the middle of the AI revolution. So far, all 5 categories of struggles that we are seeing are not only easily solvable, they're solvable in a short period of time, 90 days or less. If you're curious about how or why, just get with me and tell me what questions you have. I'll create videos, I'll do research. If you're struggling with something that does not fit into one of those 5 categories neatly, that's part of this national research that I'm doing. If you could get that to me somehow, you can email me, you can look me up on LinkedIn, you can message me on LinkedIn. You can contact me through my website, The Mark of Mastery for Financial Advisors. That's themarkofmastery.com. Join our community. It's no charge, entirely made up of high-end financial advisors, all seeking the same thing, to perfectly align your work and the value you provide with what clients expect and what clients want most, so that you can be compensated for doing a whole lot more for a whole lot fewer clients.